All right, let's talk about AI images. We're going to cut through all the hype and get straight to it. How does this stuff actually work? Who are the big players? And, what does it all mean for our jobs, for creativity, and for our ability to even trust what we see online anymore? Okay, let's dive right in.
I mean, it really does feel like magic, doesn't it? You type in a few words, something completely out there, and boom, you get a piece of art that would have taken a human artist days to create. But it's not magic. It's a really fascinating process, and we're about to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how the trick is done.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. This technology didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It actually evolved from an older, pretty clever method into the absolute powerhouse we see today.
For a while, the main game in town was something called GANs. Now, just picture two AIs in a constant battle. One is the generator, and its job is to create fake images. The other is the discriminator, trying to spot the fakes. They go back and forth, one trying to fool the other, both getting smarter and smarter, until the fakes are basically perfect. But now, a new technique has totally taken over: diffusion models. And they're the new standard for a reason. They create way sharper, more detailed images that are just much, much better at following your instructions.
Okay, so what in the world is a diffusion model? Well, the best way to think about it is like sculpting. Imagine an artist starts with a totally random, shapeless blob of clay. Or in this case, a screen that's just full of digital noise, like old TV static. The AI then carefully, step by step, starts to carve away and refine that noise, slowly revealing the image you asked for. Your text prompt, that's the chisel, guiding every single move.
So let's break that process down. It always begins with pure random noise. Then your prompt, our dragon over a neon city, gets turned into a set of instructions for the AI. Then, in a whole series of tiny steps, the AI starts to denoise the image, making it clearer and more organized, until finally, the picture emerges. And here's the cool part. Because it starts with random noise every single time, you can use the exact same prompt twice and get two completely different images.
But how does the AI even know what a dragon or a neon city looks like in the first place? Well, it learns from a gigantic training dataset. Think of it like a massive digital photo album with millions, maybe billions of pictures. And each picture has a little sticky note on it describing exactly what's in it. The AI isn't just copying these images, it's learning the patterns, the concepts, the relationships between words and what things look like. It learns that dragons have scales and wings, and that neon cities glow at night.
Now, this whole field is moving at an absolutely breakneck speed, and there are a few key players who are really leading the pack. So who are the big names you need to know about right now? What's so interesting here is that each of these models has its own vibe, its own personality. Stable Diffusion, that's the open source hero. Developers love it because it's flexible and amazing at photorealism. Midjourney is more of the artist's choice. It's famous for creating these stunning, really stylized, almost dreamlike images. And then you've got GPT-4o from OpenAI, which is a total game changer because it's built right into ChatGPT, making this powerful tech super easy for pretty much anyone to use.
And believe me, this field is not standing still. We are seeing huge leaps forward, like all the time. For a long time, AI was terrible at creating text and images. Well, now they're getting really good at it, so you can make realistic logos or signs. Features like inpainting, where you can just edit one little part of an image, and outpainting, where you expand the picture, are basically standard now. And it's all happening faster and faster, with the next big thing already on the horizon, generating entire videos and 3D models from just a sentence.
Of course, anytime you have a technology this powerful, there's a huge economic story brewing. This isn't just a fun toy. It is a seriously disruptive force, especially in the creative world.
And we're talking about serious money. Back in 2023, the market was already worth nearly $350 million. And that just shows you how fast businesses and regular people have jumped on board with these tools.
And that growth is just explosive. It's projected at over 17% a year. You've got entire industries like stock photography and marketing that are being completely turned on their heads. I mean, why would you spend days and a ton of money on a photo shoot when an AI can spit out a dozen custom images for you in minutes for way, way less?
But this is where the story gets really complicated. For every company that's saving a buck, there's a creative professional feeling the heat. A recent study of artists found that, yeah, a lot of them see an opportunity to use AI as a new tool, but a clear majority are scared of losing income, and more than half see their entire livelihood at risk. It's the classic story of technology and disruption.
And that leads us straight into the thorniest part of this whole conversation, the ethics.
This technology has created a massive, passionate, and sometimes pretty ugly divide. On one side, you've got the incredible promise, a new era where creativity is for everyone, where anyone can bring their ideas to life. But on the other side, you've got the peril, accusations of widespread copyright theft, the terrifying power of deepfakes, and, of course, the displacement of human artists.
Right at the center of the copyright fight is a really simple, powerful demand. An overwhelming majority of artists feel like their life's work was scraped from the internet and used to train these models without their permission and without any compensation. A recent German study found that 91% of artists think they should get paid if their art is used for training. Their argument is pretty straightforward. Our labor is fueling these multi-million-dollar platforms.
And to make things even messier, the law is just scrambling to catch up. The U.S. Copyright Office has basically said that if an image is made entirely by an AI, with no real human authorship, it can't be copyrighted. This has created this huge legal gray area around who owns what, and the courts are only just beginning to try and figure it all out.
And then we have to talk about the undeniable dark side, deepfakes. We're talking about photorealistic fakes that are being used to spread political lies, to run really sophisticated financial scams, and maybe most disturbingly, to create non-consensual explicit content. This technology has the potential to absolutely shred our trust in what we see with our own eyes.
But look, it's not all doom and gloom. On the other side of that coin, these tools are empowering people who never, ever thought of themselves as creative. They're being used in classrooms to make history and science more visual. And they're even being used to restore old, faded family photographs, literally preserving our history.
So with all these forces pulling in different directions, innovation and disruption, promise and peril, where do we go from here? Well, the future is very much in our hands.
The hard reality is that governments and regulations are moving way too slowly. They're lagging far behind the tech itself. And while they talk, the technology just keeps marching forward. So what that means is that the immediate responsibility really falls on us, on you and me, to adapt and become way more critical consumers of everything we see.
And there are real practical things you can do. Yeah, keep an eye out for those classic AI giveaways, like mangled hands or text that makes no sense. But more importantly, build good habits. Always ask, where did this image come from? Be extra skeptical of any picture that's designed to make you really angry or shocked. And if something feels off, check it against other sources you know you can trust.
Look, at the end of the day, this technology is just a tool. It can be used to unlock an incredible creative revolution, or it could be used to build a world filled with convincing fakes. Which one of those futures we get doesn't just depend on the tech companies or on governments. It depends on all of us. The choice is really ours to make.